Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday live stream. We got a ton of stuff to go over. Let's just jump right into it. First of all, before we start talking about Bitcoin Strategic Reserve and Anthony Scaramucci and 47, or President Donald Trump, coming and actually agreeing, which I never thought I'd see again, there's a little thing I wanted just to go over. And as I move forward, it's a good idea to take retrospective look backwards just to see just how far we've come. Because I know people talk about, hey, today's an awful day. We're only at, I don't even know what the price of Bitcoin is today, but we're not at all-time highs. We're not 50 to 100 to 300% up. This is awful. And on this, of course, we've already topped out, and that was a good bull run. See you tomorrow, or see you in 4 years. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think we got a long runway. We talked about this yesterday, but take a look at this. This is from Charlie Baleo, and he puts these out every so often. And he said an end of year report. What this takes a look at is how different asset classes have done over the years, going all the way back to 2011, because he's trying to focus significantly on Bitcoin. We can see that, of course, for the year of 2011, and obviously that's quite a ways ago. Bitcoin exploded. U.S. growth did great. Gold did great, 9.6%. NASDAQ was up 3.4% for the year. Watch out. Large caps and value and so on and so forth. And then we can go across the board. We can see that, hey, things are looking pretty good. But of course, there's a 4-year cycle. And in 2014, Bitcoin went down 58%. And it is these huge pullbacks, crashes, dumps, I don't know, whatever people want to call it. It's what frightens normies. But what really excites us, because we know that this isn't forever and we're not in a day-to-day operation. These are 4-year cycles. And if you just stick around for 4 years, you're rewarded from quite handsomely. And that was just to zoom in. Now, of course, if we want to do really good stuff, we want to zoom out. And this is what we're looking at. It's just crazy. You can just go along the very top hand column here, and you can see the number's a little bit smaller. I'll link this in the description. You can see it. But I mean, just take a look at the number one asset of all time from 2011 has been Bitcoin. And I know maybe when you talk to your family, they're like, hey, I saw that Bitcoin went down 6%. I guess you get them next year, huh, Tiger? And you're like, yeah, whatever. It's going to be just fine. And of course, here we are. So again, 4-year cycles, I think, are still in play. And as of 2024, here's who did the best. Number one, Bitcoin at 121% from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. The price action was as such, 121%. You can't defeat that king on the mountain. However, U.S. growth was pretty close. I mean, a way distant second, 33%. Gold, which I own, very happy for that. If you're a gold bug and you're like me, you like precious metals, great. Hey, it was a good year, great year. Not like a Peter Schiff year, but yeah, gold 26%, NASDAQ 125%, large caps 24%, value, and so on and so forth. And the only loser was long duration treasuries. Isn't that crazy? So, you think that's the safest play, treasuries, down 8%. What are you going to do? And of course, across 2011, 2024, cumulatively, you're up, I don't know what this number is. You're up 31,130,368%. That's kind of crazy, but if you take off like 2011, you're only up like 100 million%. So, hey, it is what it is. U.S. growth 720%, very good. Gold, you're up whopping 75% over 13 years. Congratulations. Large caps, you're up 1,000%, not too bad, and so on and so forth. So, again, if anybody asks you any questions about Bitcoin and you're kind of on the fence, just go, you know what? It's very volatile. It's risky. If you want to stick around for 4 years, you'll probably do great. And I think there's going to be a Bitcoin strategic reserve. And here's some of the things we're talking about. So yesterday, very late in the program, I actually pulled this up. I wanted to save it for today. But if you missed it, if you had to step out, no big deal. I want to play this again. This is Michael Saylor talking to Bloomberg Open Interest. And just listen to what he's talking about as far as like who he has been talking to and who he has bent the ear of as far as which circles that he runs in. So let's just take a listen. Let me make sure you can hear this perfectly. This is about 45 seconds or so. So take a listen.
You've been relatively less vocal than some of your peers in the crypto community about your political views. And I have to ask, have you met with President-elect Donald Trump?
I've met with a lot of people in the incoming administration, but I couldn't comment further than that.
Okay, can't.
Yeah, it's a nice smile. You don't see Michael Saylor smile too much usually when he's giving these interviews, but that's kind of like a sneaky thing on the side. And maybe he has been talking to some people within the Trump administration, and maybe they've been talking to him about a Bitcoin strategic reserve, which I think would do pretty well. And I think they would probably want to talk to him because he is essentially, and his company is essentially, as a proxy for Bitcoin, as they've been putting on the balance sheet. And we're one of the first to actually do it as far as corporations, institutions. So who better to ask than Michael Saylor? But then there was this interview, which I thought was pretty great. And this one was from, let me see if I can pull this up correctly. There we go. From the guys over at Bankless. And it was a pretty short and sweet interview. It was with Anthony Scaramucci. Now, if you know any history, Anthony Scaramucci was the press secretary for Donald Trump during his first administration. That was from 2016 to 2020. And it did not end well. And let me tell you, the MOOCH is no fan of Donald Trump. So what he talks about in this interview, I thought was pretty telling, because he's not about to give an inch to that guy. And I'm pretty sure he was not supporting him throughout the presidency. So, or the campaign, I should say. So let's take a listen to this as he's talking about what he thinks will actually happen and why it will happen as far as a Bitcoin strategic reserve. So again, shout out to the guys over at Bankless doing a great job with it.
You think we'll get a strategic Bitcoin reserve? You think that's a thing?
I do, actually.
What does that look like, do you think?
They've got the votes. Haggerty wants it. McCormick wants it.
They have the votes in the Senate, you think?
I think so, yeah. There's 53.
Really?
I do think so, yes.
For like to her bill to get 1 million Bitcoin, right? That was her full bill,
yeah,
right?
Well,
to keep the 200,000 then.
This stuff gets horse traded. So you'll probably have 200 won't get sold. They'll probably buy another 400,000 or 500,000 Bitcoin.
What?
Over the next.
You
don't
think
that's
this is
going to happen?
real? Senator, talk
let
about
me
it.
tell you why I think it will happen, okay? Trump wants it to happen. And he's got the Senate Banking Committee. Tim Scott wants it to happen. He's going to be the chair of the Senate Banking Committee. Bessent wants it to happen. If you're telling me there are no Democrats, and I don't believe this because a lot of Democrats voted for the SOB 121 bill. If you looked at the dispersion of vote, it was a bipartisan approval of that bill. And by the way, Ryan, it was if you were 40 or 50, let's say you were below the age of 60, you voted for the bill if you were a Democrat. If you were a fossil like Elizabeth Warren or Sherrod Brown, you voted against it. So if you're telling me there are no Democrats that are going to vote for that, then I'll say, okay, then we're not going to get it. But I don't see that. I think Ro Khanna would vote for it. I think there's a lot of Democrats that look at it and say, if Bitcoin is digital gold and we have $600 billion of gold on reserve at our bank, in the Federal Reserve Bank, you're telling me we couldn't put 75 to $100 billion of Bitcoin on reserve?
You think?
Yeah, I got to tell you, Mooch has a great point. And it's amazing to me when people talk about this, they go, yeah, we don't think it's actually going to go through. He's not going to have the votes, and maybe he's not. Maybe he is. I have, no idea. It really comes down to the backroom deals that are going to be made within the slimy place that is called Congress. So whatever happens, I am ready for it. But we have to be prepared for the strategic reserve. And everybody's talking about it like it's a lock. It's going to happen. I think it's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to happen the way that we think it's going to happen. I think there's going to be, every time we think that there's going to be this one path to victory and it's going to actually look like this, I always remember that there's a lot of different things that have happened throughout digital asset space and, of course, the market and, of course, life in general that kicks you in the teeth and says, no, it's not going to be like that. Here's a great example. This is from John Deaton, and he says it perfectly because he believes that the strategic reserve will actually happen, but in a different way. And he talks about what would Satoshi do in this situation? Would Satoshi really approve of the government coming in and owning Bitcoin? I can't say for sure or not, but I can just say that I think it's inevitable, and that's where we're at right now. But he just says, if the U.S. government passes Senate Limits bill and begins buying Bitcoin, it will no doubt cause other nations to follow. We talked about that on the show for quite some time. It's going to lead to FOMO. The different countries, no one wants to be first, but nobody wants to be last. So of course, we had El Salvador really pick up the flag. Now America's going to be the leader, and then before you know it, the EU will step in line. Southeast Asian countries, you might get Russia, who might get China. But the thing is what will America do? Will they just start gobbling up 1 million? Maybe, maybe not. This is a great alternative. He goes, I don't think it'll happen. I believe Trump will instruct the U.S. Marshals or any other agencies to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve or SBR wallet with the intent to hodl the 207,000 Bitcoins that we already own. Now, hopefully before Trump gets in office, the Biden administration doesn't do something crazy like sell it all, like they were trying to do not too long ago, but we'll see. I think the will of the American people are to hold on to that Bitcoin. We've got too much debt. We need to bring that debt down. This would be a pretty good way. Donald Trump could argue this is a functional equivalent of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And I got to tell you, makes sense. He could say, look, Congress doesn't want to do these things, so we're just going to keep these 200,000. And then if there's any kind of seizures, and we're going to protect the American people by seizing this Bitcoin that's being put out there, and we're going to put this in the reserve, great. Also, we're going to allow you to pay your taxes with Bitcoin. They're going to keep that and instruct the different agencies to keep the Bitcoin that they actually collect in a strategic Bitcoin reserve wallet. Then that's a win for him, right? He said he was going to do it. That's what he did. Senator Lummis bill wants to start buying a bunch of Bitcoins. Maybe they get it, maybe they don't. Regardless, I still think it doesn't matter. I still think there's a catalyst for a massive Bitcoin bull run coming in 2025. I don't see this as like a negative. I see it either we get this like mini strategic reserve, great, or we get this massive Bitcoin reserve where America is actively buying Bitcoin, greater. Doesn't matter. Countries will still come in and start buying Bitcoin. But that's my thesis. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in the comment section. I think I'm way off. Tell me where I'm actually wrong, and then we'll go from there. But it's not just the strategic reserve. There's a lot of things that are going on. I want to give a shout out to Hive Digital. Looks like they're moving to my home state of Texas. And this is what happened. Bitcoin miner Hive Digital is moving its headquarters from Vancouver, Canada. I don't know what's going on in Canada. If you're a Canadian, sound off, because I hear there's a lot of issues with Justin Trudeau. But it looks like they're picking up their headquarters, moving to Texas in response to President-elect Donald Trump's positive stance on Bitcoin. I got to tell you, why not? You know, one of our senators, Ted Cruz, is not only a Bitcoin proponent, but he also mines Bitcoin in his spare time. Who'd have thunk it? So these types of stories are where I'm like, yes, this is the will of the people. This makes a heck of a lot of sense. And then this really got me thinking. I'm like, well, as far as like Bitcoin miners, because I mean, Donald Trump and JD Vance and the administration, new administration coming in on January 20th at large has been saying like, look, we want to embrace this new technology. We want to make Bitcoin the essential hub of the United States and be a global superpower for digital assets. So I thought to myself, well, how much mining is going on in America right now? Because that's pretty much, you're controlling it. I mean, not really controlling everything. You just have a lion's share of it. I took a look at this. It's a great map here. Well, pretty sure I put in the comment section or the description, but if not, I'll add this in later. Chainbulletin.com, chainbulletin.com, Bitcoin mining map. And one thing, first of all, let me preface it with this. I'm not a miner, and miners tell me that, Rob, you have to understand that these big mining operations like Foundry, Antpool, those types of places, they don't do all the mining themselves. They just connect all the miners throughout the world. So as a miner, I can connect to Foundry or Antpool or F2 Pool or whatever else it is, and I can just move around. The question I always had was this, is because there's hotspots all through, and we can see right here where the headquarters are, where the major amount of the Bitcoin mining hubs, it's all in the United States, right here. Slush Pool, Bitcoin.com, what is it? Antpool, F2 pools, you name it, we got it, right? Huobi Pool, wow, Huobi Pool in Europe. and some other ones over here. And there's one called Slush Pool in Russia. Crazy. But again, all these different operations, they're just like an aggregator. They're, Bitcoin mining. They're not doing it themselves at mass. But my question is I know they're not doing it in mass. Like F2 Pools doesn't have all of the rigs that are out there. There's the independent miners and large miners that are connecting together to make this massive hash rate. My question is, and I don't know who has an answer, is what is the percentage of what, say, F2 Pool and Ant Pool is connecting all these miners, and what is the percentage of what they're actually doing the independent mining themselves, where they're actually buying the hardware to actually do the Bitcoin mining? Because if you take a look at this chart right here, it looks like it's all US, but this is what I see. I'm glad that this is going in the right direction. If you took a look at this 5 years ago, it definitely wasn't like this. It was more scattered, but it kind of unnerves me just a little bit because there is a whole lot of centralization as far as the concentration of Bitcoin hash rates in the United States. But that could be just me overthinking things. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section. And that's my bullish thesis for Bitcoin going into 2025 and a couple other things. But we're going to talk about Bitcoin. Let's talk about the craziness that is the altcoin market. I've got a friend. His name is Bobby, and he is out of control. I don't know if you've seen this lately, but we just had like a little bit of a run last 24 hours or so. Let me see here. Look at that. Bitcoin's almost at 98,000. It's up almost 4% in 24 hours. Ethereum's up almost 30. I mean, we're back, baby. Solana, 207. Yeah. Cardano's up 5%. I think everything's up. Avalanche, so on and so forth. But what always gets me is every time I do this, I take a look at the top gainers. It's always meme coins or virtuals, because that's a big AI agent play. But my friend Bobby sent me this, and he's like, look, things are going great. Maybe you should have listened to me. But look at this ridiculous. This is ridiculous portfolio. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is super risky. I don't know why Bobby does this, but I think to myself, man, if this is what is going to outperform Bitcoin in the long haul for this bull run, scary times. But if you historically look back, it does happen. And unfortunately, the crazy altcoins that are out there, now we've got meme coins. Before the meme coins, it was NFTs. Before the NFTs, it was the ICOs. It just never stops. So if you're going to get out there and gamble, just be responsible. Take your profits along the way, because nobody ever went broke taking profits. But I just thought it was funny, and we'll see what Bobby comes up with in the next 24 hours. So we have that, and then also I need a favor from everybody before we get to the Q&A. Two things. First of all, my friend Wes over at Smart Money Crypto. He's been on the channel a couple of times. Good kid, does solid work, lives in Dubai. And he just got his YouTube channel canceled. And I was pretty surprised because they didn't give him any warnings. So, well, there's two things. First of all, I linked this post in the description of this video. If you could do me a favor, just go to the post when you're on Twitter or X. I know you guys are. And if you could just repost that, so it kind of shouts out to YouTube and YouTube creators and asked why they took his channel down, even though they didn't give him any type of warnings. And he's just like me. He's like a digital asset channel, just talks about digital assets, loves them. And I asked him, I said, hey man, did you post anything recently that governments wouldn't like? These are the things that I talk about. He says, yeah. He goes, I was talking about Elon Musk and how he called out the BBC for misinformation, and CNN also spreading misinformation. But it was repeating factual events that had happened. BBC or CNN have big control. YouTube, I don't know. Probably no real shares in the company. That's all I did. And then they took my channel down. So if you're in favor of free speech, I would ask you kindly to share this tweet to help out Wes and his channel that was erroneously taken away from him, and now he has to start from scratch. So that's just a a request from myself. And then lastly, of course, Tomato Coin. So Tomato Coin, just so everybody knows, it is a meme coin. It is the Cardano's first meme coin that we started in July 17th, 2021, just so everybody knows. The IDO is going to be on MinSwap. It's going to be on Monday. It's going to go for 2 weeks. And we're going to try to raise 570,000 Cardano. Now, where does that go? So just so everybody knows, first of all, I created this, or me and my team created this, for a specific reason, which was an airdrop to all the DNEWS stakeholders in our Cardano stake pool. So this is what happened. We had 3.2% was already airdropped in July. That was almost like 2 million. And we're going to airdrop almost 5% to everybody who stuck with me, as well as if you stake with the DNEWS stake pool at Cardano. And the remaining 6.5%, because we're going to take 15%, will support efforts, partnerships, and giveaways. And what I'm going to start doing is every day, get your Cardano wallet ready. I'm going to start giving away thousands of tomato coins, just handing them out like candy on all these different live streams. So get ready. Now then, 40% is going to go into the pre-sale IDO. IDO is initial DEX offering. The fund raises Cardano, which will ensure robust liquidity and will create a smooth trading experience. And then on the other side, liquidity providers, after the pre-sale, we're going to give away, or we're going to not give away, the liquidity, which is like 45%. We're going to take 23 million T coins will be added to liquidity. So we don't touch any of that stuff. It's all going to the community, having a good time. If you're going to get into a meme coin, why don't you get in the first one is on Cardano? And that's it for today. Oh, yeah, lastly, we'll be doing airdrops also with World Mobile, Minutes, Cornucopias, and Croy. And that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talk about is time sensitive. Now, let's talk about, do a little Q&A, and we'll go from there. If you got to take off, take off. Beautiful day here in Puerto Rico. We actually have electricity. I'm pretty excited. And that's it for today. Let's get into Q&A. Let's see. Daniel says, why is Tomato Coin on the Boomer network, not the new hotness, Solana? Well, it's because I got a soft spot for Cardano, and it did right by me, and did right by a bunch of people. And we've got a lot of stakeholders as far as like our delegators, and I want to reward everybody. So we said, heck, we already did this. We're the first one to do it. So let's just roll it out, see what happens. So it's like, far as Solana, they got plenty of meme coins. And Bobby will tell you all about it as you just took a look at his crazy portfolio. So, and that's another thing. Like if Cardano really wants to get into this, right? What was one of the big reasons, or I think one of the main reasons Solana really blew up? It's because you had pumped out fun and everybody launching a ton of different meme coins on the chain, and everybody had a good time. Don't tell me people didn't. They loved gambling. And it brought Solana to the forefront, and it actually did a pretty good job for the price appreciation. So I thought, me and my team thought to ourselves, why don't we do the same thing for Cardano? Tomato coin's out there. People seem to like it. Airdrop, been secured. Let's do it again. All right. Chris says, if I join the staking pool before January 6th, I'm still eligible for Tomato Coin. Yes. Yes, as a matter of fact, you are. If you're looking as far as like the information to how to stake to DNEWS, there's a link in the description. Check that out. Crypto Hoops, do you think the market will pump or dump after Trump's inauguration? We took a look at this last week, and we took a look at how January, historically speaking, there's usually a pullback because the year before it's actually every halving year, which is 2016, 2020, and 2024. Well, actually 2012, 2016, 2020, 2024. The January after, the year after, there's always there's a pretty reasonable run up. And then there's like a 20, 30% pullback. And we took a look at it and we said, yeah, it could definitely happen. It's going to shake on a lot of people's hands. And you saw it. You saw it just this last couple of weeks. People experienced $108,000 Bitcoin. AltCoin market was going crazy. I want to say we were at $3.8 trillion. And then we retraced below 100,000, and people were like, well, that was a fun blow off top bull run. So see you guys in 4 years. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? Did we not just talk about the fact that the president of the United States is super bullish on Bitcoin and digital assets. Did you not understand that Congress essentially rode the tails of crypto digital assets into victory as they vanquished their, well, not everybody, Elizabeth Warren's still around. And we have a very pro Bitcoin crypto Congress. Not everybody, I got you. Economy's reasonable well. Money printer is back in play. We've got the Fed cutting rates. We don't have massive, huge wars. Hopefully there's one that's going to be extinguished very soon, Ukraine versus Russia. And things are looking pretty good. And then of course we have institutions. There's this thing called a Bitcoin ETF. I don't know if you've heard of it. I don't know. It just was crazy to me that people were giving up already. I'm like, wow. But I mean, it happens. We'll see. Texas Joe. Rob, you always say you're going to disappear during the bull run. A, I don't believe you. B, your community arguably needs you more in the bull than the bear. That's nice. First things, Joe, is that I didn't say I didn't say I would disappear in the bull run. I said I would disappear in the bull run when I sell my crypto and digital assets. Links in the description of all the indicators I'm looking for. Because I have dollar cost average in, I will dollar cost average out. And when I hit the peak, go top of what I think is for me. And again, if I hit 60% of the top, I'm super happy. I step down. Nobody needs a cheerleader in the bull market. If you've listened to me long enough, you know you're already supposed to take profits. Everything's a scam until proven otherwise. You're not supposed to invest more than you can afford to lose. You're not supposed to use leverage. You're not supposed to leave things on exchanges. You know all those things. Those are the 5 rules in the bottom left-hand corner. You don't need me. What people need is this next class that's going to come in and get crushed, because it's going to happen. And there's going to be a pullback, and they're going to go into a bear market, and they're going to realize, oh my God, I totally invested too much. This is all a scam. And I would like to be there to remind them that all the gains are made in the bear market. And I think that's where people are needed. Not like, hey, there's this new awesome thing happening in the bull market, and then things get too frothy, and then they get crazy, like the FTX, Celsius, Voyager, and stuff like that. 3 Arrows Capital nonsense. And all the different scams and shenanigans that are going on in the background that I think will inevitably pop up. I don't want to be part of that. So that's that. Let's see. Slayer fan says, when you disappear, I'll be you to post something after you sell or disappear? No, the day that I sell, I will come up here and be like, well, sold today. And it's probably still going up. So good luck with that. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Des says, that's why I'm stepping down from live streams. We'll just be listening. Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun times. JB's here. Hello, JB. I know Bobby. Bobby's something. Is Tomato Coin a scam, Rob? This is why I just talked about this. So let's make this crystal clear. Hawk Tua was a scam. Can we all agree that was a scam? Or something happened with that lady that she got roped in. So when we take a look at the tokenomics, or we call them tomatonomics, 15% is marketing utility. We already dropped 3% of the tokens. That was in July 17th, 2021. We're going to drop an additional 5.26% as far as an airdrop. And that's going to go into all the DNEWS stakers for delegation, for the people who delegate their ADA, right? They're going to get Tomato Coin. They're going to get World Mobile. They're going to get cornucopias. They're going to get minutes. They're going to get Crow. Congratulations. You did a great job. 6.5% of that is going to go for all the other giveaways. And I'm going to be talking to all the different people in YouTube land to do the same thing. I'm going to give them tomato coins, give them to your people, because that's what they're there for. Now, the IDO, the initial DEX offers, I really got to put the percentages here. It's 40%. Okay. So what this is when people come in there and go, okay, I'm at MinSwap, and I want to buy some tomato coin for super cheap, 0.002 or whatever the heck it is, right? Because it's a meme coin. And we just took a look at those. If you always take a look at what does well, the top gainers all the time are meme coins. So you're going to buy these tomato coins. Damn, where'd it go? There it is. And that's 40%. And then off you go. So now we have Cardano, or MinSwap has Cardano, I should say. That's one trading pair. And then we're going to give the rest, the 45% of the tomato coins for the liquidity to go back and forth. It's all going to this thing. So I will say this. If we don't raise I think it's 57, is that right? 570,000. If we don't raise the 570,000 ADA that we need for the liquidity, because when you buy something, you have to have it, right? And when you sell something, you have to have it. So like when I'm buying T-Coin, I need Cardano. And when I'm selling T-Coin, I need ADA. You have to have a balance. So it's all there. If this doesn't happen, then the only thing that happens is that everybody who delegates the DNEWS stake pool, guess what? They still get the 5.26% of the tomato coin. And that's it. So the great thing about this is that it's not us doing this. It's not us pulling the strings. It's MinSwap. And that's why we partnered with MinSwap, because they've done a host of different initial DEX offerings, and they take care of it. So for me, like, this is an inevitable question. If you think of what I just said didn't sound legitimate, you don't like what you heard, then don't invest into it. Don't have fun gambling. That's it. Let's see. I know. I remember ETH was $1,000, dropped to $100, started buying, then it went to 4,000. Yeah, that's usually what happens. It's a good one though. When Ethereum was down that low. Let's see. James is a charlatan. I was his biggest on the release. He was never in finance. Do your own research. Oh, I guess. Cosmos and products on X. Oh, James, best answer. He's had some good calls. Let's be honest. Solana, MicroStrategy. All right. Can you have CoinLedger come on again and show how to upload Robinhood? I could ask them. Yeah, I mean, I could actually. I know that. So what we're talking about is CoinLedger. It's the tax software that I've used for the last 3 years or so. What I could do is I could have the guys on again, and we could just have a big Q&A, and you guys could just ask a bunch of questions, and we'll do it live, and then we can get it all squared away. Yeah, I made plenty thanks to James. There you go. I think if people listen to, like, if you listen to James on Solana, you did pretty good. If you listen to Ben on Bitcoin, you did really good. So, like, that's it. There's going to be good calls and bad calls. I don't know anybody who's been 100% right, perfect yet, but that's investing. Code says, I'm surprised how little I check the market. I'm simply now waiting till I can't breathe to sell. Well, that day's coming. I think the only thing that we have to worry about is just when we're going to sell. Rob, how old are you? I'm old enough to squint every time I read these questions. Can't see. I listened to James and made money and lost something comes to Celsius. See, there you go. Celsius, the worst thing of all time. Celsius and Voyager. Worst things of all time. What are your thoughts on Algorand? I own some. I hope it does well. And it's just there's a reason why it's been in the top 20 for quite some time. So I think it'll do great in this upcoming bull market, and we'll see if it actually can really become adopted. I think that's the big thing. Chris says, why is selling so stressful, Rob? It's because when you do something meticulously over the years, and it becomes a habit, and it's hard to break that habit. And what I'm talking about is dollar cost averaging and buying dips. It's so easy to do it. It's actually a little bit hard to do in the beginning, but then when you get used to it, you realize that, and correct me if I'm wrong, raise your hand, but if you take a look at your bank account right now, and you're looking at it and you're just like, where did all my money go? And then you look at your crypto wallets and accounts and centralized exchanges and cold storage devices and hot wallets, you're like, oh yeah, that's where it went. So that's what you're used to doing. And now you're asked to go do the exact opposite thing, which is sell. And this is why I always talk about, like, every so often you'll hear me pipe up on a stream or on X and saying, hey, I just sold some. And of course I get the inevitable, like, you're a moron and you should never sell because you're paper hands and blah, blah. And the whole thing I said is because, well, one, I thought it was a good time to do so. And of course, even if you sell at what you think is the Pico top, guess what? You're still going to miss the next top and the next top and it never stops. So you should always sell. You should make the ability to be present to sell a little bit, because at some point you're going to switch from buying to sell, doing nothing, sell, doing nothing, sell. It's very hard because you don't do it that much. If you held, you could still retire. Yeah, you could retire. I mean, just depends on what you want to do and what your goals are, and what your personal monthly expenditures are. That's really what it comes down to. Some people are like, I don't need this. I just accumulated. It's going to be great for my kids and grandkids. And some people are like, I really need this for my retirement, but I'm going to do the MicroStrategy rich person thing, which is I'm going to take massive loans against my crypto and live off that. And then once that runs out, I'll take another loan because everything will appreciate so much. Good luck. Good luck. Hopefully you don't get margin called. Hopefully you don't take out bigger loans than what you think it is. And hopefully the market doesn't crash enough or pull back enough to where you do get those margin calls. I'm not doing that. Yeah, forget YouTube, so frustrating. AVAX, oh, I own a bunch of AVAX. And by bunch, I mean a reasonable amount, more than one. Oh, Theo says, Rob, did you hear anything about Direct Alliance? Members XRP, Hedera, Algorand 8. I did not hear about that. That sounds good. Direct Alliance. Let's take a look at what the heck this is. Well, I have decentralized recovery. Now this is it. Okay. September 5th, Hedera IOHK joins Direct Alliance as final founding members. This is a while ago. September 5th. To shape the future of crypto security standards. All right. A group think tank? That sounds good. We can retire Italian style on Tomato Coin. As long as we get that Olive Garden participation paperwork in, we should be good. Scam. I'm bullish on peak. I don't know what that is. I know Degen Dan will stay longer. Nah, I don't think. Even Dan Degen can't stick around for this, because then it gets too crazy. Damn. PH has me beat. I now have 82 altcoins rotated from my Bitcoin profits. Can you beat that? Huh. That's crazy. That's crazy. Probably do pretty well. And you know what PH is probably thinking to himself is this, is like, well, I have these 82 alts, but they don't all have to be winners. Give me 10% of these to, do a 20 to 50x golden. That's the big thing. Pith is the other oracle. Yeah, Pith on Solana blockchain. There can be more than one. Chainlink is the big daddy, but Pith, let's see how it does. I own some, so we'll see. Swan Brano says, Mooch is a total backstabbing, compromised fraud. He needs to go away. Exclamation point. Exclamation point, exclamation point. I'm disappointed in you bringing this chump into your show, Rob. You should know better. Well, that's a thought. But think of it like this. It doesn't matter about what your personal opinions are about Anthony Scaramucci. I happen to like the Mooch. I think he's quite an entertaining fellow. But you have to understand that the reason why I thought it was interesting was the Mooch genuinely dislikes Donald Trump. And he said that openly numerous times. And he's been there as a supporter for Kamala Harris. And he really wanted her to win. Didn't work out for him. That's the way it goes. But for him to agree and not have some kind of Trump derangement syndrome and say, like, he's not going to do anything, he's worthless, he can't get this actually done. For him to say, you know what, he can't get it done because Trump wants it to happen. And also he's got, you know, the votes in the House and in the Senate, and he can make this actually go through. I found it fascinating. I'm like, there's a guy who hates Trump or dislikes greatly. I think hate's a pretty strong word. And was able to come out and say, yeah, he'll get it done. And I was like, wow, think about the person that you despise and hate and they want to do something. And you're like, yeah, he can do it or she can do it. Tells you there's a good chance. That's why. The Mooch is great. Mooch, I meant. I know what you meant. Trump sayers hate Mooch. I don't know why. I mean, well, it's probably because of the things he said. All right, Scott, thank you. Just changed my ADA staking pool to DNEWS. I appreciate you. Mooch is the man who got fired, but still the man. Who here hasn't gotten fired? Let's see. What's this? Rust Dog says, iTrust needs to add stable coins so we can transfer a top of market and not have to write down in a bear market. Russ, remember, you can, instead of stable coins, you can put them into dollars. And it's really the same thing. You know, you put it, no, I mean, obviously it's not the same thing, but it's the dollar. It's not pegged to the dollar, it's a dollar. So like, if you're like, hey, you know, I've got Pepe and Dogecoin and Dog with Hat, just like Rob does in his Roth IRA retirement account. And I want to sell those because they've done so well in my retirement account. I'm going to do that tax-free because it's my retirement account. And I'm going to sell, and I'm just going to put those into dollars. Even you can put them into, even if they had stable coins, the same thing. You just go there. It's a non-taxable event anyhow because you're in an IRA. Panda Pie says, Rob, can you share the website or info to check out Bobby? Bobby is a very private person. And I will make sure to ask him when I speak to him how his portfolio is doing and what he is getting into. I will also try to calm him down and not invest in so much craziness because, again, this isn't a normal person that would invest in stuff like this. No one normal invests in this. But here he is doing his thing. Unbelievable. Doing well. I think he's actually up by like 40%. Today. So good for that degenerate. Let's see. He's a rat. Tomato Coin Lover says, I'm ready now. Bring on the pasta. That's a pretty good handle. Guys, we got to start doing a bunch of these giveaways for Tomato Coin. That's the goal. So if you don't have a Cardano address, try to find a Cardano wallet. People have said they like the wallet Eternal. Also Nami, I have that in there. Actually, in the comment section, I need you to put in either the live stream or if you're watching this after the live stream, would you please put in your preferred Cardano wallet, whatever that is, and tell me why. That way we can start to pull the information and then we can tell people how to download it easily and quickly. Scott says, I use Eternal. We have to let it go. Yeah. I use Eternal. I love it. Okay. Same thing. Papa says, Yoroi. Daniel says, Yoroi Mobile. All right. I love Eternal. Chart, he can't say. All right. Eternal. Oh, I use Eternal because you can consolidate everything in a single address. And this is it. Brant says, Yoroi is what I've had since 2021. Same thing with Daedalus wallet, but you're running a full node. I would not recommend that to people at all. Oh, Ada Light. Yeah, Ada Light with Trezor. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll put together how to get Eternal, how to get Nami, and I guess Yoroi. A long time. Srihari's got a good question, and it's pretty much resonates with everybody. Tell me if you're not essentially Srihari. I feel like I'm bullish on Cosmos. Now, everybody who's listening to this, just take out the word Cosmos and insert your favorite crypto that is underperforming. I feel like I'm bullish on Cosmos just because I own it, but seems pretty dead. How can I remain objective? So really it comes down to this. Remember when everybody counted out XRP? And remember when everybody counted out Cardano? And remember when everybody counted out Hedera and Stellar and all these different ones that are like, people would say, well, those are boomer coins. And then all of a sudden, Trump comes out and starts talking about, hey, I'm going to eliminate all taxes on crypto, US-based crypto project companies. And that was a big thing. And then the people from the last cycle started to get excited because Bitcoin broke 100K. And then like, you know what? I think Bitcoin's gonna be great. You know what I used to buy was XRP and this and this and this and this. And all of a sudden it just took off. So like Shari, like sometimes you have to take a look at it and say, and also what has it been doing? Remember, like with Cardano, I thought was great is that they got picked up by Bitcoin OS to essentially be a layer 2 solution for Bitcoin for fees. And they're working together to make essentially Bitcoin more accessible. So like I take a look at that, I'm like, well, there's some functionality right there. XRP doing, you know, great things as far as like working not just in the United States because they got kind of screwed by Gary Gensler and the different lawsuits. Way more international clients. So take a look at Cosmos, see what it's been doing, see if they've been building in the bear, see if they've made any type of partnerships that make sense to you, and see what kind of upgrades they've done. If they haven't done anything, it's time to drop them. But if they've actually worked and earned it, then stick around. So that was it. Wow. Luna Classic. That's crazy. Jakester says, I rephrase that. Yore is a good wallet, but have been having issues with MinSwap tokens showing the correct balance. That's not a good look. I'll be honest with you guys. Yoroi, not my favorite wallet. If I've got a problem with the stake pool, it's usually because, just like what Jakester was talking about, something doesn't show up in the wallet, and I have to direct people back to Yoroi for customer support for what's wrong with their wallet. It's nothing that has to do with our stake pool. I'm just not a fan of Yoroi. And I think people are a fan of Yoroi because it's been around for so long. And they're like, well, that's just all I know. That's fine if it's working for you. Papaya says, any robbing news in the midnight airdrop? No, I saw that Charles made a mention of it. So we'll see how it rolls out. We will definitely be in the running to integrate that into our DNEWS stake pool. So we'll be doing airdrops. Just got to figure out what they want us to do, and we'll do it. Oh, no way. Bitcoin OS is not working together with AD anymore. IOG is building the competition. That's not a good move, I don't think. They should have stuck with them, but okay. Typhoon wallet is good. Torrent says, you don't know what DePIN is? Decentralized physical infrastructure networks. I thought it was going to do pretty well. We took a look at a couple different projects. Ever heard of Uki? Nobody did? I haven't heard of Uki, sorry. But we took a look at Minutes. We took a look at Aether, some other projects over on Dan Degen. DePIN is going to do great. And I think that one of the big ones is World Mobile Token. So they actually have a working product. Also, Helium is done just fine too. They just taken a different approach, that's for sure. Oh, Ryan says, not from Charles' most recent AMA. They're still working with Bitcoin house. Oh, thank God. All right. Yeah. Gil says, Rob, Nami is joining Lace. I need to move or link Nami to Lace. I just saw that. Thank you for reminding me. I just saw that. I was taking a look at my Nami wallet before we started the live stream, trying to move some things around, and that pop-up came in there. Hey, you got to upgrade to your Nami wallets. They're integrating with Lace, and I was like, what the hell is this? I'll take a look at it when I get some time. Let's see. Raz says, give me a reason to buy ADA instead of Sol. Sure. It's heavily undervalued. And I think, let's just take a look here. If you just take a look at valuation, right? Let's just take a look at valuations. God, Lord, Bobby. How far away are we from all-time highs? There's a great website, Coin Go Live. So Solana is 27% away from its all-time high of 263. You know what? How far Cardano is away from its all-time high? 228%. So you got a ways to go just to get just back to base, which is $3. So you just take a look at that. You're like, well, Sol might, once it hits all-time high, it's how much higher can it go? Maybe it can go to 1,000. I don't know. But I think ADA and Cardano could do better than that. And also, if you take a look at market cap, same thing. So there's one thing like that. And then, of course, it does never go down. That is one thing. However, it's sure not as fast as Solana. That's true. And it's not as cheap as Solana either. I find it, some of these like DEXs, I find some of them, like they have these charges. And I'm like, really, it's that much? I'm not talking like ETH fees. I'm just saying, like, shouldn't this be like fractions of a penny or pennies instead of, quarter ADA or whatever it is sometimes? I just find it like that. So just for valuations, I go with that route. Andrew says, Sol is going to crush ADA just like it did last cycle. I mean, Sol did pretty good, but Sol started in 2020 and it rose from, I want to say, well, from 0 all the way to 263. It's pretty good. Cardano was, I remember buying at 7, 8 cents, 6 cents sometimes. And then I went to $3. So, I mean, still, I'm not complaining. ADA governance, Baron Sol. Jose Felix says, will we see similar gains of 2021 or more? I have always said this. I thought we kind of got screwed out of a proper bull run in 2021. It was a very strange bull run. And the reason was because the different puppetry and shenanigans that were going on behind the scenes with FTX, with Three Arrows Capital, with Celsius doing essentially a Ponzi scheme, living off levered plays. And it was just way, way, way more manipulation. And the person that was supposed to stop that, Gary Gensler, you know what he did? He just met with Sam Bankman-Fried in a couple of different interviews. So good for him. Missed everything else. Did not do a good job of protecting us. That's for sure. So I think this cycle will be bigger than the last cycle. And the reason why I said, because I mean, look, even the last cycle, didn't we hit roughly 3 trillion market cap? Right now we're at 3.6 trillion, right? What do you think it's going to look like at 10 trillion, 12 trillion, 15 trillion? Does that seem ridiculous? I was around when we were below 1 trillion market cap and people lost their mind when we hit it. They're like, oh, we'll never, I mean, can you imagine doubling that to 2 trillion? Yeah. You don't understand how big it's going to be until you actually get there. So I think this one will be bigger than the 2021. Having said that, I think we're due for a pretty bad recession. So make sure you have assets because it's going to get crazy. Let's see. Too many numbers says too many unlocks in Sol. I don't think there's that many unlocks. If you look at those two places, token unlocks. Or you know what's a better place? And I forgot who told me this. I don't know if it was Pi, Red Panda Pi, but you can look at unlocks in Coin Market Cap. And right here. So you go to like Solana and click on token unlocks. And there it is. And you can just see like the kind of unlocks that are happening. I got to tell you, it doesn't seem too much. There's a slight uptick. But again, this is also because Solana is inflationary, and it has to be inflationary because they have to continually pay for all the staking fees and transaction fees as well. Well, that gets paid by us. So you're going to see here, I don't really see too many, quite honestly. It just, look at the inflation column, which is under community, then team, then inflation. Yeah, that's the only one that's really moving. No, that's the only one that is moving. So it's just inflation until 2020, until the end of 2026. So I think you're safe. I think we're safe. I own ton. I own ton too. Yeah. Wow. I'm going to say something and hopefully I don't get blocked. Digital Asset Degen said the guy that blew up the Cybertruck in Las Vegas was shot in the head prior to detonation. Police announced on camera and a few other interesting details. Okay. Let's hope I don't get banned like Wes over at Smart Money Crypto. Wow. It is expensive and so is ton. Ton's not as expensive. Hey, Rob, do you have a sense of timing for the recession? I don't. And everybody who calls a recession is always wrong. I remember what is Raoul Pal's company called? I remember they were calling for a recession Q1 like last year. So that didn't happen. Wait till the tariffs hit. We'll see. ADA insults or lies. Michael, thank you. Michael says, I've been with the DNEWS stake pool since I entered crypto. Missed out on the first tomato airdrop, unfortunately. It's okay. You're going to get this one. I think that's it. That's right. Real Vision Exponential something or other. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. Threw in two girl. Always on top of it. Great stuff. Michael, yeah, exactly. Michael Burry. Remember Michael Burry, the Big Short? I mean, look, that's the thing about the gurus out there is that they'll tell you like, hey, you know, I called this and I called that. And they remind all the times that people that they got it right. And, you know, hats off to them. They did. I mean, good for you. But not everybody gets it right every single time. And I think we fall into that trap of believing because they said one thing right one time or three or four that they're going to be right every time. No one's infallible. It's ridiculous. This was a great piece from Peter Malik. He says, the S&P 500 is up 47% since Michael Burry said sell. I remember this was on January 31st, 2023. And he just said sell. And people were panicking and it was all a big thing because, you know, Michael Burry said it. And then everything rallied. So that's why you got to do as much research as you possibly can to make the best decision for you and your families. All right, buddy, that's it for today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everybody talked about is time sensitive. Two things, if you could do two things for me. First of all, there's that post for Wes from Smart Money Crypto. If you could repost that, that really helps to get the message out to YouTube like, hey, don't take down people's channels like you're not supposed to. And those are your own guidelines. And the second thing is just remember, take a look at, I linked in the Tomato Coin website and socials so you can decide for yourself if this is something you want to get into. It's a meme coin. It's gambling. Let's be honest. So give it a roll. That's it for today, everybody. Thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you. And again, the mods, great work today. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of the day.